Like, I know I can't help it. Like, you're smiling. What's kind of like this moment like for you?
It's kind of, I'm just surprised that I was getting interviewed. They texted me yesterday and I was just like, okay, what's up? So,
How's it been?
it's been,
Since you got off.
um, it's been pretty good. I mean, obviously, I know Peyton Thorne, so it wasn't hard for me to kind of adjust. And this is my third school, so it's kind of been easy for me to adjust as far as academically and football. The culture is just very different. But I've been in the South before, so that's definitely not different. I'm used to the heat. Even it hasn't been that hot yet, but I've been in Texas, so I'm pretty sure I'll be used to the heat. But other than that, everything has been going pretty well.
What's it like transitioning back to wide receiver?
The last time I played receiver, 2017, I want to say. It's definitely been different just because obviously high school and college are two different levels. The speed of the game is different. The competition is very different, and I'm in the SEC, so that's pretty much different too. But it hasn't been that much of a difference as I thought. It hasn't been as difficult as I thought it would be, just because obviously I'm pretty gifted athletically. I think the main thing about it is just learning it's the small things, like the intangibles, like hand fighting at the line with the corners, tracking the ball over my head, making sure that the deep ball is caught over my shoulder rather than me adjusting to the ball in the air. Just the little stuff like that. But the playbook is really easy for me just because I played quarterback, so I pretty much know what Peyton is thinking. I've played with Peyton before, so those things have come pretty easy for me.
Having him here, how valuable is that?
That's very valuable. I mean, since I played with him my sophomore year, I kind of know Peyton. He's like my best friend. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. But we was talking. We always talk. Like, we've been talking. Even before I decided that I wanted to switch my position, I was just talking to Peyton about how his season was going last year and how my season was going last year. And we both were playing the same position at the time. And Peyton is somebody that I looked up to just because of how he is, how much of a leader he is, and how much he knows about the game. Obviously, he has a family where his dad was a coach and his dad's dad was a coach. So Peyton has a lot of knowledge about the game. So week to week, I would just call Peyton and talk to him about that. But obviously, after we played them, that's when I started talking to him more. Because before I played him, we didn't talk at all, zero. So
was there any hesitation when you get kind of Auburn kind of comes in the picture when you're in the portal and it's like, we want you to come here, but as a different position? Or, I mean, how do those conversations go? And, like, again, were there any hesitations on your end?
I mean, honestly, it was me telling them that I wanted to change my position. I had to show them. I obviously had to sell myself to them, to be honest, because it's the SEC. So, yeah, it can go get whoever they want. And it's Auburn in the SEC. It's not any other school. So, I think the main thing was just me being prepared for that, because I had came off 2 injuries, and I was honestly kind of not really shocked, but just surprised that it went so smoothly. But as soon as I hit the portal, I got to talk to Coach Davis, got to talk to Freeze, and it pretty much just went how I wanted it to go, and it's going how I wanted it to go now. Just me learning from the guys, me learning from Peyton, being around a culture like this, so I'm loving it so far.
Sam, talk about the room. What have you seen from the other guys there in the room, and who stood out to you?
I think the guy that stood out to me the most was Rob Lewis. I think he's our most polished receiver. He's pretty sure he's a senior, 4th or 5th year, but he just has a lot of knowledge about the game, and his passion shows just how much of a leader he is to us, even to the coaches. Like, if you ask the coaches about Rob, they'll tell you about Rob too, but I just love watching Rob work. Like, I can ask Rob anything and he'll have an answer for me quick as Coach Davis would. So I think he stood out to me the most, and obviously Cam Coleman, who's just a specimen. He can do anything you ask him to do, and I think he's catching on pretty quick too. Like, it's obviously some things he has to learn just because he's at a different level of the game. But if you go out there, you wouldn't think it's Cam Coleman his freshman year, probably about his sophomore, junior year. So those 2 guys stood out to me the most for sure.
You talked about Auburn. What did Auburn coming out there and seeing fan base, all those things, did that have an impact when you started looking around, or what did you think of that though?
Definitely. I mean, when I was at Cal last year and we played Auburn, it was like we played at Auburn, like when we were playing when we played Auburn last year. So that stood out to me the most. But really, what stood out to me was just obviously I got to talk to Peyton because Peyton was the starter here. He's the leader of the team. So he was just telling me about the culture, and I believe it because I know Peyton wouldn't sell me a dream. But once I got to talk to Coach Freeze and once I got to talk to Coach Davis, that's what really sold me. I got to talk to AK, the recruiter, and honestly, this is my third school. I've been through this process before, so I kind of knew what I was looking for, and this is the culture that I was looking for sure. And I think we can win it all this year. Honestly, that's what I believe. I know our teams believe that, and we got a lot of work to put in, but it's pretty early in the year, and that's what I believe from the guys that I've seen. The offense, the defense, it's looking pretty well right now.
Sam, there is some skepticism among the fan base here about Peyton, and he didn't have a great year last year. Do you feel like he's in a better spot now, or that he's going to have a great year?
He definitely is. I mean, I just think he needed a little bit more help with the receivers and stuff like that, and they did a great job of recruiting, as you can see. The offense is it won't go well if you can't pass the ball and run the ball. It's like you have to be able to do them balanced. And since I've came here and we've started spring, it's been looking pretty good to me with Peyton in there and all of the other quarterbacks too. But once you give Peyton the leeway to do some things, you'll start to see a lot of things change. And I think you guys will be able to see that this year. But the fans are the fans, and they're gonna believe what they want to believe. But if you really know Peyton put in a lot of work. Like, he's here all day. That's all he knows is football. Like, I barely get to see Peyton at home because he's always up here just going through the playbook and stuff like that. And you can get that from Freeze. You can get that from Coach Austin. So I think the fans will be able to see a whole different Peyton this year. I just think last year that was his first year in the SEC. The team wasn't how they wanted to be last year as far as the offense and the receivers, and we got a new coordinator and stuff like that. So I think things will be pretty much different this upcoming year.
Sam, speaking of the fan base, it's not that TCU and Cal don't have great fan bases, but here at Auburn, you're constantly under the microscope and the lights are brighter.
Yeah.
Is that something you're looking forward to playing in front of, or are you going to enjoy that kind of attention?
I definitely will. I mean, I got to play a little bit at TCU. I got to play at Cal too, but I just know that Auburn is different. I mean, I'm in Alabama. It's kind of all they have, like Auburn and Alabama. So I'm not afraid of the pressure. I know the lights are going to be on at all times, and I'm pretty much looking forward to that for sure.
You talked about you thought this team had a chance. You've seen a team that went from 6 wins to playing for it all. What is it about this team that reminds you maybe of that TCU group?
I think it's the way that they cater everything to the players. I mean, like, the team is a player-led team as far as, like, the locker room. The guys are pretty close, and you can just see, like, the guys who – because I'm new here. I just got here in January, so I didn't know what it was like to be around a lot of the guys last year, but I can kind of tell just based off who I'm, like, I kind of talked to the most. They were just telling me, like, this was going on last year, and a lot of those things have changed. And coming from TCU, I was there for 2 years. I had Patterson my first year, and then I had Dykes the second year. It was kind of like the same thing, like the same exact thing I'd seen at TCU is kind of what I'm seeing here. But you just got a great head coach, new offensive coordinator, and just being out there with those guys, I can just see, like, this is all they want to do this for real. And like you said, I've been on a team that went from 6 wins to playing in a national championship. So I kind of know what it feels like to be a part of a team like that. And I feel like even more than that team, like, we got the talent to do it, and we're definitely putting in the work for it.